Alright, good morning. Now Lily, I'm going to do a little bit of feedback on your story. I've got your story here. Now what you say is once upon a time there lived a small cheetah cub. The cub was the only girl in the litter. She was playing with her 4 older brothers. The family lived in a dense bush in Africa. Okay, that is your setting. Now you've done a really nice job of where the cave is. What we don't know is anything about your characters in terms of their personality. You talk about the brothers and you talk about the girl, but we don't know anything about whether they are playful, what they look like, whether they have special markings on the head or anything like that. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the start of the story of Peter Rabbit. So here is the start of the story of Peter Rabbit. Okay, I will just get this started.
This is the tale of Peter the Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. Once upon a time there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail and Peter.
So first of all, the story talks about their names. Now this is quite important when you are writing a story because it gives some personality. The names themselves give them personality.
They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree.
This part you do really well. You talk about how the cave is covered in ivy and there's a coconut tree in the front.
"Now, my dears," said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, "you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor."
What the story is doing now is it's setting up where the bunnies are allowed to play, what there is around them, and some of the dangers.
"Now run along and don't get into any mischief. I am going out." Then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies.
Okay, now she's just said that Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, who are good little bunnies, now that shows their personality.
Went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden.
Okay, now so this is where the story gets quite good because now we've got Peter who is doing something he's not supposed to be doing, and that's kind of what your cheetah cub does. She goes off with the wrong family. Now I'm just going to show you a little bit about what the watering hole looks like. Okay, so this here is a story about a tiger who is looking for other animals at the watering hole. It just sort of shows some of the dangers involved and how animals protect each other.
Rhesus macaques would be a perfect snack for the python. I need something a little bigger to satisfy my appetite. Look, across the watering hole. A vulnerable elephant calf is an almost irresistible temptation. My queen will need something to eat when I find her after all. Even the simple task of walking is difficult for this delectable little one. She would be easy pickings if not for the herd. Trust me, They are like soldiers, and will stop at nothing to protect her. These monoliths can drink 80 gallons of water in a day. And look who else is keeping a watchful eye on the proceedings. A colossal buffalo patriarch. He's a 1-ton giant. Even I can't deny his weaponry is magnificent. They have some of the largest horns of any animal on Earth, you know.
So this guy is giving some description of what is going on around the waterhole where the tiger lives.
Horns aside, these timid grazers are always on high alert at watering holes. Tigers aren't afraid of a little water, and we hunt by ambush. Buffalo aren't the only ones listening for trouble. The herd is wise to stay together.
Okay, this part here, the elephant part, really shows how the family of elephants is looking after each other by keeping themselves together.
I do wish this nosy rhino would mind his own business.
So this is the part in your story, basically, where the cheetah cubs have gone down to the watering hole to get a drink, and now they are going home.
It seems my presence is no longer welcome.
So essentially you have to talk about how they might be running away, how there might have been some sort of danger there, and you need to tell us a little bit about what the girl cheetah cub is thinking about and what she is doing, where the rest of the family is going. Are they going quickly?
Leave it to the rhinos to get everyone in a tizzy.
So your cheetah cub is like this little elephant here, this small elephant that you can see here, and how this elephant might be very vulnerable to the tiger. Okay, so that's giving a little bit more detail. So I'm just going to come back over here. Now what I've written up here is it says giving detail about how each part of the story is played out. Now that makes your story much more interesting. Okay, and at the end here when it says, so the part that I was just talking to you about, where it says here, they all had a drink and started to head home. Okay, now that is where the story gets good. So you need to start giving us a lot of description about all of the details that happens when they start heading home. So when they start heading home, there might be a few things that happen. First of all, the mother cheetah might calls to the cubs. Okay, now that might be happening across families. So number 2, the girl cub responds to the wrong mother and starts following. Okay, now as she is following, they might be doing this quite quickly, okay? So the cheetahs are running and know there is danger. Now at this point, this is where your story develops, and it says here, she thought it was her mother. She followed her, she kept walking, but then she met up with a lion. Now where did the lion come from? You need to explain that a little bit. How did the lion, in comes the lion, okay? Where and what was the lion doing? Was the lion sitting down sleeping, or was the lion looking out to try and find the cub? Okay, so I would like you to develop a little bit more detail about all of these things, and you don't have to rewrite your story. What you can do is you can put in an asterisk on your page. So on your page, you might just put an asterisk, say, where it says here, they all had a drink and started to head home, but one of the cheetah cubs was lost. Right, now how did the cheetah become lost? So you might want to put an asterisk just there, and then on the next page you can put the same asterisk on your book like this, and you can start writing the detail there. If you've got a couple of different areas that you're going to do, which I'd like you to do, especially in the beginning, once upon a time there lived a small cheetah cub. The cub was the only girl in the litter. She was playing with her 4 older brothers. So you might put in here, see, I've circled this one. That one's just an asterisk. This one's a circle. And then when you have finished writing that part, you might want to add in this part here where the circle is, and you can talk about the personality, like I showed you on Peter Rabbit, about whether they are good little, it's talked about how they were good little bunnies, or whether they were naughty. And you can start talking about the personality of the cheetahs. Now, what you're doing here is you're making your story much longer, but you're making it longer with meaning. You are trying to explain all of the different aspects that are happening. Okay?